how to plan for next year like a confident mom. Now, confidence is all about intentional planning. So as a mom, have you sat down? Have you had conversation with yourself and asked yourself, what are my plans for next year? Now, have you sat down with yourself and asked yourself, what did you really achieve this year? Were you present as a mom? Were you present as an individual? Were you present to yourself, to your children, to your husband, to those people that need you the most as a mom? Ask yourself, were you busy doing a lot of things but neglecting what you were meant to do? Ask yourself, did you really do your best this year? These are more at the conversations we need to ask ourselves, because when we do ask ourselves these conversations, it helps us to plan for next year. Your goals, the goals you had, the dreams you had, were they untouched? Did you do anything about your goals? Were you able to set systems and structures in place that could help you to implement those goals? Now, the truth is that after having this conversation with yourself and you just feel you did not really do so much you would have done, it's not for you to feel like a failure. It's not for you to feel bad. All you need to do is to intentionally plan for next year. And that is what we're going to talk about in simple ways today. Now, what does it mean to plan as a confident mom or as an individual? Planning means when you decide how you want the next year to go for you even before it begins. How do you want next year to go on for you? How would you want your activities, your schedules, everything about your life? Do you have the structure, the system for your life? That is what planning is all about. Planning is when you begin to align your time with your values. Your time is your life. Your time is very important and relevant to you. So you must plan ahead of time how you intend to spend your time. And you must match your time such that it aligns with your values. Your time aligns with your values. Now, for you to plan, it involves you're not in that place where you're constantly reacting. You're not in that place where you're constantly reacting to things, but you start to lead your own life. You start to be responsible for your choices, for your decisions. Now, planning is not about you being perfect as a mom. It's all about you being purposeful, being intentional, being responsible, planning ahead of time. Even the Bible says, commit to the Lord whatever you do, and He will establish your plans. In Proverbs 16 verse 3, that is why it is important for us to plan. So how can we plan for next year? One of the ways we can plan for next year as a mom, as a confident mom, is to start with vision. What is your vision for next year? What is that thing you want to achieve for yourself, for your children, your family, as the case may be? Even the Bible says, my people perish for lack of knowledge. When you don't have knowledge of where you're going to, your vision, you're not clear, it might even make you not even achieve your goal. So one of the things you want to sit down and ask yourself today is, what is my vision for next year? What kind of person do I want to become by next year? What season am I in? Because you have to understand your current season as a mom. When you understand your current season, you are at peace. You're not competing with the next person. Your goals, your values, your dreams, you ensure it aligns with your current season. The season you're in as a mom, what do you need to prioritize in that season? You ask yourself, what is that thing that matters most to you in this year? Because vision guides your planning. So one of the ways you can enter next year and succeed, or you can start to plan for next year, is to start with your vision. The second thing you can do is to choose priorities. For example, you could say 3 priorities you're going to carry on for next year. You could say 3 things that are non-negotiable standards for you for next year. It could be the way you manage your time. It could be the way you carry on with your parenting. It could be the way you take on your personal development and your personal growth. It could be the way you relate with God. You just list and tell yourself there are 3 things that are going to be non-negotiable. Because when you don't state these things, the world is going to tell you whatever it wants you to prioritize or to focus on. So as a mom, you must choose 3 priorities you're going to focus on. Not focusing on everything, but choosing 3 things that are going to be your standard for next year, that are going to be things that are non-negotiable for you for next year. Another way we can plan for next year is to time block your priorities. What are your priorities? What are those things you want to achieve? What are those things that are relevant to you as a mom in this season that you are? You have to time block it. You have to plan it in such a way that it suits your routine. It suits what you're doing. Because when you don't schedule your time or what you intend to do or your priorities, you find out that you're all over the place. So those are your priorities. Time block it. Allocate time to it and tell yourself this is the time allocated for these activities. And when you do allocate that time, you go ahead and implement what you were meant to do. Another way we can plan for next year is to build flexibility. The truth is that you have to be flexible. You have to come to this point of always questioning and asking yourself, how am I getting along with my goals? How am I getting along with my vision? How am I getting along with my plans? Are there things I need to change? Are there things I need to work on? Are there things I need to improve on? Now, you need to extend some grace to yourself. Even after setting your plans and your goals, you need to be flexible to what is working. You don't have to be rigid and say, this is my goal, I'm going to stick with it. There is this saying that when the going gets tough, okay, I heard it from someone, when the going gets tough, the tough seek collaboration. So you have to get to this point where you extend grace to yourself. You're open to learning. You're open to good changes. You're open to making good changes for yourself. So you have to be flexible. You have to have an open mind that you're going to be flexible for next year. Then the last way we can plan for next year is to have a review. Always sit down with yourself and ask yourself what worked. Even while you're planning for next year, sit down with yourself and ask yourself, what are the things that worked this year? What are the things that did not work? What are the things I can work on or I can improve on for next year? Because when you do a review with yourself, it helps you to understand where you are on the journey and the things you need to work on. Because reflection leads to your growth. So you need to reflect. You need to constantly be in this position where you're reflecting on your journey, on your process, and asking yourself, how am I getting along? So the goal is not for you to be overwhelmed as you enter a new year. The goal is not for you to be reactive. Most of us are always reactive. The goal is for you to enter the new year in a calm mind or in a calm state, and for you to be intentional. One of the ways you can be intentional is by following through the process we've talked about, having your goals, having your vision, prioritizing what is important to you. The goal is not for you to be busy and feel unfulfilled. Most of us are busy, but we feel empty on the inside of us. The goal is for you to be focused next year. And one of the ways you can be focused is when you have a vision, a clear vision of where you want to see yourself at the end of next year. The goal is for you to focus on your journey, to focus on your process, because we all have different journeys. We all have different process. The goal is for you to focus on yours and not on the next person. The goal is not for you to feel guilty for setting goals or feel exhausted before you even enter next year. The goal is for you to come in next year confident, to come in next year aligned, to come in next year with the full awareness of what God is calling you to achieve. So as a mom, you must intentionally plan for next year. You must step away from that place where you're under pressure, because you can only lead your life when you have clarity. You can only lead your life when you have an understanding of where you are headed to. So I want to invite you to sit down and have a conversation with yourself and ask yourself, what are my plans? What are my goals? Where am I headed to for next year? And when you follow through the steps we've talked about, it's going to go a long way to help you. So thank you for listening to me today. Thank you for your time. My name is Chioma Odikolo. Please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Confident Mom Academy. We're on Facebook and Instagram at The Confident Mom Academy. We're going to walk you through the journey of being a confident mom. We're going to help you rediscover and remind you of your identity and help bring out the masterpiece on the inside of you. So follow us on our social media handle. Come walk with us. Come subscribe to our YouTube channel where you get lots and lots of videos that will transform your mind positively and help you to unleash that masterpiece on the inside of you. Thank you for your time. My name is Chioma Odikolo. Till I come your way next time. Do have a great day and bye.